Good evening, everybody. We are getting ready to start here in just a moment. Getting everybody situated. Now it looks like we are good to go. So let's go ahead and start. So, welcome everybody to the Secret Cantina podcast, episode 5. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I have with me Ryan Conroe and Andrew Strout, and we're going to go ahead and talk about everything in the world of Star Wars that we can. And the PQ meta coming up. We've already had a couple weekends of PQs. Some store showdowns have started, and we're also got some preparation for Minneapolis here coming up in a couple weeks. So it's an exciting time, and let's go ahead and get to it. And before we start, normally, like usual, I got some shout outs I want to go ahead and give out there. Um, I want to say big, huge shout out to Late Night Gaming. Awesome. Loopy and that whole team are absolutely awesome. Loopy, Symbiote, Platform. I know I'm forgetting some other people on that team, but you guys are absolutely awesome. If you don't know about Late Night Gaming, definitely. I mean, what you live under a rock. If you look at us and you haven't listened to them. Um, Last night, Sunny and I were on their Late Night Gaming playing some different games. I played some Raid Data Vault, and Sonny played some Haunt Green for a couple hours. Super fun, had great talks. Um, Definitely would love to go back there, but really wanted to give a huge shout out to him and the support that he and other creators have been giving for our team and everything. So really thank you to them. Um, I also want to go ahead and give a shout out to everybody that qualified this weekend, the past couple weekends, for the PQs. We had another series of PQs and all the winners. I believe this weekend we had some local or some teammates had some friends that went ahead and qualified this weekend. I think Josh said he had a friend that qualified with Gar Data Vault. So huge shout out to everybody that qualified, whether you won or was passed down to you. That's a huge accomplishment to see you in day 2. That's going to be awesome. And then lastly, I want to make an announcement that Team Secret has added a brand new member to our team, and that is Brandon. He was on our podcast last week, and awesome dude, great energy, great vibes. He won his first PQ, and it's something we've been talking about for a little while. He's been helping us test for the last 6 months. Um, so I'm really excited to have him on board as part of the team, and looking forward to all of the accomplishments and see where he goes. So huge shout out there. Um, that's all I've got. You guys got anything? Any shout outs you guys want to make? Any you guys have thought of? No. All right.
I
No
think so.
worries.
I was just very excited because you and Brandon both went to the North Carolina PQ, and I know people were very excited the last couple weeks because the meta's like wide open. So yeah,
Yeah.
just congrats to Brandon. Definitely a fun time we played.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk a little more about the meta being wide open today, so definitely go on with that. But first, I want to talk about some of the spoilers that went ahead and came out today. Um, they were a little later than normal, but they were pretty cool. One of them, pulling up the names of them now. If you guys want to start talking about them while I pull them up, where is it?
Uh, yeah, so we have the Karis, Night Sister, the
Yeah,
2/4 for 2 when defeated. You can use the Force, and if you do, give a unit -2/-2 for this phase.
just put it on the screen
Just
there.
just overall great turn 1 play. A 2/4 is very hard to remove in one action after
I had the wrong. I had
turn
the
1.
other Night Sister.
And if you can get, I mean, since she is Force, if you have the one of the common Force bases, you get that attack first action next turn, then her effect's basically active, and like you have to be careful if you do trade into it or play something. So that's going to be very good, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think was when they said the stat line for the 2 drops in the set, or the ground units at least, the baseline is going to be 2/4 for 2, which is pretty interesting. I think that should make more trades happen. I think like your unit's more likely to survive, right? So I think it's kind of cool. But yeah, just being able to like this thing can just get chip damage in and then like take out a 4 health unit later. Like that's like really really good value, especially in these colors. I think I play a lot of villain blue, so
this is definitely an interesting card for me because we do have a similar card that already exists in the Desperate Commando from this current set. that one's -1/-1, and that's just a 2/2. And this one's one more damage or one more minus on both the attack and power and defense. So for me, that's really interesting. Um, I know it's got definitely really strong characteristics in terms of the force trait, and then we're to be determined how strong the knight trait is. Um, but I do think that this card is really interesting about with Thrawn. Like if you can make a force Thrawn type deck, going ahead and if we have a force Thrawn and you can double this effect, you can kill a lot of things with
So
a -4,
it,
-4.
yeah, I think I think you could trigger it twice, but I think the issue is the force token is like just like binary, so you can't like stack force
Yeah.
tokens. So I don't think you could
Sure.
like get two of them to trigger it twice. But yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what's going to limit him because
Gotcha.
it's like a if you do kind of thing, and you
Okay.
have to use the force and you can't stack them.
That's fair.
unless there's maybe we haven't seen the rare bases yet. Maybe the rare bases like break that somehow. So it's possible.
That's true. Maybe maybe the bases will let you have like some type of you start the game with multiple force tokens or something that would for
Yeah.
some extra life. That'd be a really interesting.
You could also still play her in Thrawn, I guess, because she would cost one off of Krennic, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's still that.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Maybe Thrawn gets better. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows? Um, Another one, and I'm going to pull it. I actually pulled this one up first. Is Talzin's Assassin. And I'm pulling that up right now. This one, it seems like the theme for Night Sisters or the Night trait is going to be negative effects. And this one for 4, a 4/4 for 4 that on play gives it's like a mini Luke. That's pretty good. I mean, with aggressive
Pretty
decks,
decent.
yeah, I mean, against aggressive strategies, that kills a lot of things on turn on resource 4. And I think this is going to be it has the potential to be very powerful. Um, Another thing that I think that's kind of cool with this is if we get more blink effects. Like right now, we have only Qui-Gon that's been spoiled, but if there are more blink effects that get introduced in the game, where you can maybe like give it some type of use a when played use the force, blink it, and like maybe a rare base when like a unit leaves play, you get the force again, and then you play it, and it gives like the force like you use the force again. Some type of blink synergy with this would be really cool. Whether or not that happens, that might be too powerful, but that would be something to be pretty interesting to have happen.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting because 4/4 for 4 isn't the best stats, but you are really just trying to get the win plate effect, I think.
Right.
And I think that could like create some interesting like interaction with like these aggro decks. Like if you're playing against a Sabine and like they flip and you just -3/-3 it, like
Yeah.
that could just save you a lot of damage. So I think it's gonna create a lot more early game. Like I can't let you get the force token because I know you have this in your deck. So it's gonna
Yeah.
create a lot of different like chess effects. Like you got to play around this or prevent your opponent from having this.
Yeah.
I like they're both cross arena too, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
nice. So you can
Yeah.
play. It seems like this set is shifting more back to like the ground, but like you can play units like this and not feel like you're can't compete with like a jump to light speed like pilot deck that's all space. You can still like interact with space units. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And
And
speaking of two, should we loop in the Anakin as well since he's kind of looks like
sure.
he might be related to these guys?
Yeah, let me pull that up here. I think this was
So,
spoiled previously, but
right. I'm
I still
assuming they're all gonna go together with the leader we get tomorrow, but
possibly.
we'll see.
Um,
Yeah, I would wonder if it's like maybe you can like stack an additional -1/-1 or some type of effect like that.
That'd be really
I don't,
powerful. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what. I mean, the Night Sisters seem to be having this kind of theme,
Right.
so I'm interested to see what the ability is. So I'm hoping there's a
Yeah.
new blue villain leader that is in the meta other than Kira.
Yeah. That would be cool. Yeah,
yeah,
because the 2 cost 1. I mean, she's a little more exciting, I think, just because she's like super efficient. But yeah, depending what the payoff is, I mean, like the 4 cost 1 could also be like really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, additionally, I think with Anakin, I mean, I think the immediate idea when you see this card is Chancellor Palpatine, right? Like light, dark. That's like the first thought, right? Um, but something we talked about yesterday at dinner that I thought was really, really cool was um setting up for set 6 and something, or set 5, I'm sorry. Setting up for no, this is set 5. Setting up for set 6. Um the idea of Ravnica type bases. So for those that don't know Ravnica in Magic the Gathering is when it wasn't the first time if I remember correctly, but it was a set that was it was really loved for multiple colors of cards. And so it this could really set up for multiple like light dark heroes, light dark bases, red like double color or two color bases, two color heroes, and playing on these like adding the deck building ideas. And this would be like a really cool setup for those types of effects to come in um set 6 and onwards. So it's going to be, it gives me a lot of hope and a real like even more interest about what's to come.
So my first thought with this card is it could replace Vigilance for 6 because it kind of does something similar with the unit, and then you get a big body. Also, you can ECL this guy, can take out something with 8 health and survive. That's what I'm talking about.
You were all on ECL. I
Yeah.
think ECL might just be your favorite card.
Probably.
Yeah, this Anakin's definitely interesting, and I want more cards to come out. There was another one that was pretty interesting. That was the latest one spoiled. This one was spoiled really late. The dog Doom with an M as in
Oh
Michael.
yeah, he looks cool.
This card is really cool. Um,
Hmm.
you don't have to do anything. It's just a 2/7 that gives everybody +1, +1/+1. That is, well, I guess all non-vehicles. That is really cool. Um, if you're playing like token strategies, if there's a token strategy that exists of some sort in the blue era, um, you can, that would be really cool to be doing that. Like on the dark
Pretty cool
side
that
with
he can buff your leader too.
Yeah.
yeah,
Kind of neat.
as long as the leader's not a vehicle, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
and it
guess he's a
also has
creature for Kanan. Oh, go ahead, man.
the force trait too, which is huge.
Yeah,
He
that's
does.
pretty cool.
That is like a very interesting thing, which makes me wonder: are we going to get more mono blue force trait stuff that
Mm.
gives more support there? Because there's some cards like Bendu's a force card. That's a card that nobody's really messed with, but that's from set 1. That's a
Like a
big
pretty decent
body.
card.
Yeah, it's not a bad card. It's a pretty big one, and you can do some silly things with Bendu and Zillow Beast. No, Ryan and I messing around with Mono Blue Yoda last set, and Bendu into Zillow Beast is a real thing. It's pretty crazy. Some
He's got
people,
Sentinel too. It's
yeah,
pretty good.
you get Vigilance for 4. Like,
Oh, Bendu's a creature.
yeah,
Yeah.
Kanan. Kanan synergy.
Kane's got some power.
yeah. There's some stuff going on there. So it's interesting where it can go, and we have Colossus. We get some draw effects, 35 life, and we get these cards to do this. There could be some really crazy things happening.
Yeah.
So, and I think
That's pretty
Hondo
cool.
isn't Hondo also double blue from this set, if I remember correctly.
He's double blue, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's that's an interesting
You
card that
steal your dark saber.
exactly, and you can steal what else? Darksaber, General's Blade. If these new lightsabers get popular, we can start stealing some of these
Yeah,
these
all the
upgrades.
sabers.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it,
That's
I,
pretty cool.
it's kind of crazy what you can do in double blue. The more cards they get, and so it's going to be really interesting. And like I said, I think we're all really interested and excited to see more from the new set. Um, all right, let's get into the meat and potatoes. PQ meta this weekend. It was the Wild West. I think that's like the easiest way to put it. I do have a graphic here that I'm going to pull up that I this was shared in our Discord earlier today. I'm not entirely sure where this came from, so whoever accumulated this data, thank you. Take it with a grain of salt. I don't know where it came from. This was provided. Um, but this graphic is it is supposedly all of the statistics of all of the decks, the number of decks that have of the leader that's been played, leader base played, and then their win percentages. And I'm showing on this that Ray Data Vault is at a 352 sample size, a 60% win rate. Bosk Blue at a 600 sample size at a 58% win rate. Kira Data Vault is crazy in numbers at 2580.
Yeah.
56.5%. And then a deck that I think has fallen off as of recently, but still has a decent. This is also, by the way, since the banning of Boba, I believe. Or I'm sorry, not Boba, Django. So since the bannings, so this includes Richmond, all the way through Lille, etc. to now. And Kira Data Vault is by far. Actually, it's not even the most popular. Quinlan Tarkentown was the most popular at 2,749. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
missed Sabine.
Look at those
Yeah,
Sabine numbers.
Sabine numbers. My bad. I like completely missed that. As you know, I'm
You
going down the
see a
list.
wrecker.
Yeah, I'm going down the list, and I just like missed the big one. So I think it's really interesting that there are so many that's such a large percentage of aggro decks, and that's just Sabine ECL. You add another 300 data vaults to that,
Right.
and that's still a lot of Sabine. And then, so this is just like really interesting how like these win percentages. What do you think about it?
I mean, the Raid Data Vault being the highest is a little surprising to me, and then actually the top two, like Boss Blue and Ray Data Vault, just because Ray is more recent, and so I think people are kind of caught off guard and like haven't
Yeah.
been used to playing against the deck. And then the Boss Blue is just interesting to me because it hasn't really done anything in the PQs from what I can remember. And like
Yeah, I guess
bigger
they
events.
won the one event, the one big event, right?
Yeah,
I guess the pre Django
But that was
suspension.
weird though, because that was almost like perfect storm for Boss, because he was like the one deck that could kind of like ignore Django's stuff. So yeah, it's hard to say beyond that.
Yeah, and then Kira, no surprise there. I think
well, this
Blue
is
and
post banning, not pre banning, right? This is
Yeah, no, but we're talking about like
uh,
what events, I guess, has it won, is what Ryan said. So
okay.
that's the only one that
Yeah.
stuck out in my mind. The
right.
sector or whatever in Europe.
Yeah, and then like Wu has gotten everybody on the Kira Data Vault. It seems like it's like one of the most popular decks now, probably after Sabine. And then Han Green, I'm kind of surprised by the sample size, I would say, because it would not show up as a large representative in the like meta share when the regionals or sectors or whatever. But it does still have a good win rate. Still a good deck. And then Han 1 yellow is still there. So
Hanging around.
not too surprising. I think people just have to adjust a little bit their strategy. They can't rely on DJ against these control decks. So they're probably just being more aggressive, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I think the number of data vault decks is pretty crazy. We have Vader 1 with data vault, kind of makes sense. We got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data vault decks in this list that are varying in what they're doing. You've got for everything from aggro to control data vault, which is really
Also, we look at not just the field like here, we look at the winners. I mean, there have been like a lot of PQ winners that were just sort of random data vault decks. Like I think Gar Data Vault won one, and
Yeah.
Han
two data.
Han 2
Yeah.
Data Vault, one, Colby one in Florida. Yeah, so there's been a bunch of.
Let's see.
So it's like you could say that the conversion rate is like probably a lot higher for those decks
Yeah.
because they're winning.
Yeah, and looking at on the competitive hub, Kira Data. Looking at the winners, leader based winner, you've got Kira Data Vault at 7, 5 Sabines, 4 Ray Data Vaults. So Data Vaults, and then once you go down to Han, you've got Han Yellow, Han Green, Quinlan Tarkentown, and then
The
Gar Data
vaults.
Vault, Poe Data Vault, Han Data Vault,
Yeah.
Han 2 Data Vault, and there's an Iden Data Vault, Yoda Data Vault, Sabine Data Vault. Like there's so many different Data Vault decks.
Just
It's just crazy.
put Data Vault with your leader, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things like as long as your deck, I feel okay. So there's also a graph here for the number of bases. So bases in top 8, 80,
Mm-hmm.
30%, 30 almost 31% of the top 8 bases
Oh,
are
it was
Data
in the
Vault.
Bot Village. Heck yeah.
Is Data Vault, and 18.1% is ECL, and then 13.8 is Tarkentown, and
Hmm.
that is pretty
So
interesting.
green.
There you go.
Here's another interesting thing. This Swoo Stats has all this stuff on it, or Swoo Competitive Hub, and they actually have a top 8 set, and I believe that this is number of cards represented. I don't know how this is working here. They just say set top 8, and it says Spark is 92, so it's 35.4% is Spark, 34.6 Shadows, 18.8 is Twilight, and 11.2 is Jump to Light Speed. I wonder if that's set leaders.
Mm.
That's
I
the
would
percentage.
assume it's leaders.
I think that's what it is.
I mean, does that surprise anybody?
Because I mean, Sabine and Kira are
No,
first
Right.
no, Kira's Shadows.
Shadows.
Yeah. So Sabine set
So
1, Han set 1, and then Kira's
right.
set
And then
2, Ray's set 2.
Shadows also has like 35% of the meta.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
it's like Kira and Ray are boosting Shadows, and then Sabine, Han are boosting
And they
Spark.
also they have an aspect. 60% of top 8 is heroism, 40% is villainy. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I mean,
interesting.
Kira's like
Yeah.
the big villainy representative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like all light side, which is so funny. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool how open the meta is, or it feels. Um, it really feels like if you master your deck, or you are mastering it, or being extremely proficient with it, then you have a legitimate chance to top 8 or win an event. There's some we saw what this weekend was Han 4 Lake Country. I don't think any of us had that on our bingo card
Deck
to
was
have.
cooking.
He was definitely cooking some people. I think he ended X11 or X1 in the event. Like he was cooking people. He's taking them and putting them in the frying pan.
He really opened my eyes when he was attacking Greedo to base for 4. That was pretty crazy. That's a whole new map
It's
right there.
C3PO in that deck is cracked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've been playing Ray Data Vault like this weekend, and like I love Mom Mothma, and going ahead and playing C3PO with your R2s, and you don't even need to have the two. You don't even have R2 with C3PO. Your leader just does it. So the
Mhm.
free card draw is insane. Get those
Imagine
attacks, get that card draw.
imagine Pershing being able to draw a card on turn 1.
Yeah,
Really good.
basically. Yeah. So I mean, if that can exist in my mind in some type of control shell, that would be really sick. Just like being able to always have card draw. Well, I don't want to say always, but you have a very steady source of card draw. You could find your removal spells. You can find all your answers. You find your threats at some point, and you have the ability to like trade up with some of these units that you might have, which depending on how you build it, it seems really cool to me. Or really like a good.
I was just thinking about that stat you pointed out, the villain versus hero, because like I play pretty much only villain, and like man, Kira's really doing a lot of heavy lifting in this the
Yeah,
top half of this board here.
you say pretty much
Full-
only villain. I think you only play villain.
Hey, I played Quinlan for like 3 months. I just didn't go to an event, so nobody knows
That
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 I played Quinlan.
that didn't happen. You didn't play anything but that. Yeah,
But
the
like, yeah, it's great. It's basically like, I mean, she's waiting out like, I mean, obviously there's boss for the win rate, but like in terms of like quantity, you match like way out quantity and quality. Like she's doing a lot. It's so much hero. It's crazy.
the second villainy deck, surprisingly on this list for top 8, is actually Cad Bane,
Yeah,
which shouldn't. I guess it's not a surprise. Cad Bane is a beloved character,
he's
but
like got to be like one of the most popular. I feel like
probably. I mean, it has 13 top 8s. In that stat, where is it? Cad Bane, where are you?
he's just not doing so hot lately though,
I mean, but there's
performance
1800.
wise.
There's 1800 of them. Like
There's a lot of them.
he's definitely
Cad
popular.
Nation.
Yeah, he's
It's
more
it's
popular
talking
than
about
Han
it on.
Green. He's more popular than Han Green, and Han Green has one of the most infuriating cards in the game right now, and it plays it
I,
a lot. So
I think I played 3 Cads in Richmond, and 2 of them were in day 2. I don't know how many were in day 2 total, but it seemed like a lot.
there was one in top 8 in
Crazy.
Fisto. So, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. So, what is your what's your stance on the Data Vault? Like, why do you think everybody's like switching to Data Vault? Do you think it's because a reaction to Sabine? Do you think it's a reaction to um, Leal and just following the herd, or what do you think, Andrew? What do you think?
Um,
Or let's go with Ryan.
yeah,
Yeah, Ryan. What do you think?
Ryan go first because he's the Sabine expert, so he can speak to the
Yeah,
Sabine perspective.
yeah,
I mean, I am glad to see that Sabine Data Vault is doing worse than Sabine ECL based on that stats because
Yeah,
yeah,
not having ECL for Poe or Wrecker or just the threat of it is like huge.
yeah,
Um, so I'm not surprised by it being worse. I think it's more of a like if I can give myself an extra action to turn the corner against an aggro deck, it can be really helpful, and that's why people have started switching to Data Vault. I remember there was a lot of times when I was playing Kira ECL, like I was an action or two away from like just turning the corner. So I think that extra health is playing a huge factor. Um, I think in order for you to make it good, though, you have to have um, either tutor cards or some type of card draw to make your deck more consistent. And sometimes I think you are going to just have bad draws. I think even Wu said it round one, like he didn't play a turn 2 or turn 3 plays first game in the
mhm,
tournament, which I'm sure was pretty demoralizing. Like, I
yeah,
know if I lose game one, round one, I'm like, maybe this was a mistake bringing this deck. Like,
yeah,
um, so I think people will adjust. I think it will go down a little bit as in the performance. Like, I don't think we'll just keep seeing Data Vault winning every tournament.
yeah.
yeah.
It's definitely interesting. I think for me, since I've played Kira a lot, like it's become super popular with Data Vault. But like I've tried it, and like it's not like a new archetype per se because we had Kira 30, which was still pretty popular last set. I think I don't know what the stats are off the top of my head, but I feel like it was at least 50-50 split. Um, and it was pretty prevalent, and like it almost plays like a different deck, at least to me. Um, and I think in this meta, Data Vault might be slightly better for Kira, but you have to be if Kira's going to be super popular, then you have to figure that you're going to get into mirrors and mirrors with like in Wu's video, he's talking like the plan A is like milling you out, and so that's like did you mill their Star Destroyers and do you have restocks and stuff like that? So it almost becomes like a Bosk mirror at that point, which is like kind of weird. So it's almost like morphing into like kind of it's a different like little mini like meta game. Compared to like the ECL version, it's just more like feels like aggro. Like I played that mirror. I was ECL. I played against the Data Vault, Kira, in Richmond in round 12, and like it felt like I was like definitely in the beat town. I was like, all right, I'm just going to base for 4, like going to base for 5, like yeah, learning from playing with Ryan and Michael. It's like you just got to go base and just putting
Base is
shields
the
and
way.
stuff and tagging base and not trading in units and yeah. So it kind of simplifies it from if you're not playing like the Data Vault deck, but yeah, it's very interesting. It definitely feels like you're playing like a little bit of a different deck. And for me, I think getting into mill wars just doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't really appeal to me. The inconsistency thing also is like a big question mark for me. I feel like that would like tilt me certain games, like you just don't get the draws or you feel like it's not consistent enough. Obviously you got to like, outplay the inconsistency. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not personally sold on it, even though obviously the results speak for themselves. You can't really argue with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that I think you can also, even though you're playing the Kira 33, like the Kira Data Vault, if you play the mirror, I think you can have some situations where you don't have to play this game of milling your opponent out. I've played the mirror a few times or a number of times, and I'm gonna go ahead and depending on how my game or my hands are forming, depends on like a stance that I want to take. And I feel like I try to set myself up in a way that I'm the aggressor just because I want to be proactive in that. And a lot of people either play way too passive. Wu never draws poorly. Is that why you had heavy control cards and no prep for Sabine? You just knew you weren't going to play a single Sabine player and at your win. That's
He had the child
too.
sense and board. He was ready.
But he didn't have to. He didn't have a main. That's crazy. He just knew he wasn't going to play a single Sabine player.
That's
So
fine.
that he was ready. He knew he wasn't playing Sabine. Um, but no, I think like there are some situations where you could just be the aggressor, and you can, if your opponent's trying to do this mill plan, they just end up dying because they may resource their threats or they may resource certain
Yeah.
cards that they're like, oh, this removal's not good, and then you're just like, well, now I'm hitting you with like a maul or a Vader, and you're like not prepped for it because in your mind you're playing this game where, oh, we're just gonna, this like gentleman's agreement, we're gonna sit here and go to 7 resources and mill each other, when in reality I'm just gonna go ahead and play these little dorks. They're gonna put damage on your base, and then I'm gonna close the game. And I remember one time you and I we were playing it. I was playing a mirror, and we were talking through it, and I only played mauls in Palp's returns, and I dealt like
That
20
was like the
damage.
best card.
Yeah, it just like dealt 20 damage with not attacking base. I was just killing everything on their board, and the damage just adds up. And
Yeah.
then everything started becoming threats, and it didn't matter that they were milling me. It wasn't gonna come down to that, and I just like killed them. And I think that sometimes you can just be an aggressor, and I prefer to play that way when I'm playing the blue green villainy side over this
I think, yeah, I'm sure
hyper
there are definitely
control.
lines, but like if you're playing Data Vault, you're gonna have those lines like most of the time. Like you're gonna have all the aggressive options every game you play. Like I don't know. I
I
haven't played Data Vault enough.
I
We called him
unfortunately
out
don't
by the
know.
way. Greasy
Did he?
said he played Sabine in top 8 and top 4
Oh, and in round
and
6.
round 6. Oof.
Yeah,
All right.
round 6.
Well,
You didn't
you
watch the
got me.
video.
I did not watch the video. I have not. I see it. I watched 5 minutes of it because then I got into it. I had a work call, so
And you got bored.
started.
Like
Oh,
Kira.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh God, got to hear more about Kira. No, I did not. I started watching it, and then I had a work meeting and I could not finish it, so it's still on my agenda to do. Um, but all right. So you played 3 Sabines. All right. My bad. My bad.
boom.
Yeah, he got me. Yeah, he played Sabines.
Yeah, he has a little bit of Kira experience.
If anything, he played the
Just a
best
little.
Sabines in the tournament because it was all in the
Yeah,
late
they were in
rounds.
the late rounds.
Yeah.
You would think
Yeah.
they'd be the best Sabines. That's true. So, but hey, it happens. So, but I mean, I don't know. Is that matchup like still I don't think it's I still think it's favored for Sabine, but I don't think it's nearly as good as it used to be. I think it's probably closer to 55-45 maybe. Feels that
Um,
way. I don't know exactly, but
I
it
I
haven't
haven't
really
definitely.
played enough Data Vault really to say. I'm sure Will
I
would know.
I haven't played a lot of Sabine ECL into the data vault, but like, I mean, I think depending on how aggressive your draws is, or like, I think Sabine can still run away with, has an easier chance to run away with it still. I mean, if it doesn't get as aggressive, like action compression or something towards the late game, then I think it could fizzle out, or has a better chance to fizzle out if you have extra health. So I could
Yeah,
see it dropping a few percentages.
yeah,
Hmm.
I agree. You said it's
Yeah.
pretty close. It makes sense. I mean, Sabine is still going to do Sabine things, right? Like that deck is just it. Some of its draws are just like crazy, right? Like you and if you're playing Data Vault and like you said, the potential for inconsistencies. If you don't draw the answers, or you don't have the right answers lined up, and that's really that's Boss Blue, that's Kira Data Vault. That's just like true of any of these removal effects. You just get run over, and that happens sometimes. And it almost feels like that's going to happen in a best of three at least one of the games. And if it happens in more than that, then I think they high roll that series. But it almost feels like in a best of three, one of those games they're just going to high roll, and you hope that you have a win before that happens.
Yeah.
So whether it's game one and then you win game two and it doesn't happen in game three, or you won game one and it happens in game two and not game three. So,
Yeah.
but
So yeah, we talked a lot about, some of the top decks. So what do you guys think, like, anything, say not maybe in the top 5 on this list that we just looked at or whatever, sticks out to you? Anything you find interesting from like recent metas or top eights or wins or whatever? And then like what do we think go from today to Minnesota? What do we think, is gonna change, if anything?
I'll let you answer first, Ryan.
I think it's interesting that we're like, I think the light side percentages is pretty interesting. I kind of expected Vader 4 to be a little bit more
A little bit
prominent
more.
in
Yeah.
these, but I do know it has a lot of. I mean, it's kind of like a glass cannon. Like it really
Right.
destroys some matchups, and then it really just gets blown out by certain matchups. So I guess it's
Hmm.
really hit or miss on the day. I do think. I mean, I know it's been creeping up more and more, but Han 2, just green in general, ECL, the data vault, whatever, I think we are going to see more and more of that. I think people are starting to realize how powerful his leader ability is. And I think it will only increase as we get closer to Minneapolis and later in the set.
Especially with
Yeah,
Tarkentown trending down, I think, right?
Yeah,
exactly. I
Quinlan's not doing well.
I think the big shocker for me is I know it's still highly represented, but it's not as high as I thought it would be, or I do think it would be. Is Han one green? Um,
Yeah.
whether it's the pilot version or the ramp version, that deck is still extremely powerful. Like going turn one Chewy or Falcon Chewy is that's so good. Falcon into Chewy or Falcon into Han in the mirrors and like kill their Han and blow out the game, or you can pivot into a resupply avenue. Like there's so many things that deck can do. It's almost like a toolbox of different things, and it can be aggressive. It can play the late game. I know it can't, or I should say it can't, but it does struggle into Kira, which might be the reason why a lot of people, one of the reasons people stay away from it. And we've talked about before, maybe not on here, but in person and in our chats, about the floor of Kira Data Vault possibly being lower than Sabine's. And just because it's just a conglomerate of good cards, and Han feels like it can punish bad decisions. Like if you go Falcon, Chewy, and this isn't necessarily a bad decision, but in certain matchups, like they go disabling Fang Fighter or Confiscate or some Traitorous eventually at some point and steal your card, and you have no answer, you have no follow up or no answer for what's happening there, then the game's just out of your reach. It's just like you lose the game like basically on the spot. And But that deck still does. It's almost like Chewy's a gut check. Like if you don't have an answer for it, you a lot of times just die, and I hate that card so much. But I am surprised that that deck is only it's sub 1400. That does surprise me that that number is that low.
Yeah.
I think
Oh, good.
I think it's mainly on the Han green side. It's like all in, and I think some people don't really like that strategy. Is what I've
Yeah.
heard from some people.
Yeah.
I think that's why like they might just go play Sabine because it's not as all in. I think
Mhm.
that really deters some people from that style of deck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think but oh, good.
No, go for it.
Oh, I was going to change the subject, sort of following up on like what might change or whatever. But yeah, just seeing like all the comments and talking to people, I think a lot of people are like uncomfortable playing against Sabine, like from what people have described, and I think people feel much more confident with the data vault health playing against Sabine. So that in conjunction with all the results, that makes me think that like we've talked about like, well, will people answer data vault? I kind of think people are gonna like double down on it, like because I think
Possible.
people don't like playing against, they don't like losing to aggro decks, and
Right.
so I think people will probably lean into this more, especially with like how Ray has just like kind of like popped off in the last like week or whatever. Um, that color especially, or her colors, like have so many anti-aggro like tools. So it'd be really interesting to see like if people stick with these decks. But that's if you're like playing Ray, you're jamming Ray, you run into Kira or whatever, Shadows, Han, Data Vault, then you're like, well, I got to pack more big stuff, and then they pack more big stuff, and like you know, it's like you kind of got to get into an arms race because it's like, sure, you're not losing. Maybe you have like pretty good Sabine percentages, but like you can't just fold to like the other Data Vault decks. So it's like, does it just like become this like crazy stacked kind of top end, and then like does someone finally is like, I'm gonna bring Palpatine Blue back in here? Like these decks are ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
so yeah, I think the meta's slowing down a little bit, so it'll be really interesting, I think, to see what people pack.
I mean, if the meta's slowing down and Palp Green's a real thing, Palp Green and Palp Blue are real things. Like I've seen some crazy Palp Green ideas, and Palp Blue is another crazy idea that I've seen. And it's like these two decks could potentially, like, if we trend towards Kira Data Vault, we could start trending into this mono green territory where, you know, I've seen tech commands, and that is not a fun place for control decks to exist in. Like when I'm sitting here getting back my tech, bump fighting or reanimating something, or you know, ramping, getting back my devastator, or I don't know, any of these things like that's a really tough place for decks with limited control options. And then enterprising lackeys, I think that's the 5/5 for 4 for smuggle for 5, I think it is.
That's my
um
favorite card in double green.
yeah, that card's really good. Like we see blue leader exist currently in a 5/5 form on the ground. This is a never ending 5/5. So it and you pair that with data vault. Well, you just added 10 cards, so now the smuggle is you just get more cards to smuggle. And it seems like it could be pretty interesting, um, if we continue trending in that direction. And I don't necessarily know that it can't fight. Like it doesn't want to play against Sabine, but if Sabine decks are going towards Data Vault instead of
Data
ECL,
Vault Sabine.
yeah, like
Yeah, Palp's like, yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's like now on turn 4 or 5, I know that there's not an ECL record, like ECL Poe,
Right.
ECL record. I know these are not happening until later, and then when they do happen, I can flip my Palpatine, steal that later on, and because I probably ramped
Yeah,
into
like
it.
timely record for 8. It's not really
Yeah,
not
sure,
really as scary.
sure, man. I'll steal that. I'll flip like you do it. I'm gonna steal it, right? And I probably have board presence at that point also, so it's
Yeah.
it can really be an interesting play, um, that I wouldn't be surprised to like see. Palp Blue's another interesting one. It just goes over the top of everything and has like all the best cards like Kira, but it just goes
Yeah.
over the top of her, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, if you could dodge Sabine, I still think that the Sabine matchup's not good for Palp.
No,
Like at all. But
It's
I mean,
so
if she's
bad.
15% of the meta, and it's just like if there's, you get lucky and there's like Rays like picking off some Sabines, and you bring Palp and you dodge all that stuff, and you're just matching
can
against these like super slow data vault decks, like you could have a good day.
Yeah, if you can survive the first few rounds, not running into a Sabine and like hope the Rays and the Kiras and stuff are the ones that are left in the later rounds, I think you can sneak a Palp in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
probably. I mean, even if you get to the later rounds and you lose one, like you play against one of the Sabines and you lose, that's like your one loss, right? Like in like round 5 of a
Yeah.
6 round tournament or round 6 of a 7 round tournament. Like that's still really good for your odds of like top 8ing the tournament, depending on the size.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and I've been playing this weekend Raid Data Vault, and I am an avid hater of Ray just as a character, and so it's a very weird timeline that I'm playing that deck. Uh,
So you got to get her showcase now.
I was actually thinking about getting Sunny's Ray playmat for decreasing, so it could just always be reminded.
Your brother wants me to play his Ray showcase, get Sunny's Ray playmat, just Ray it
There you
out,
go.
all
I
Ray all
think
the
they have
time.
Ray sleeves too.
You want me to use Ray sleeves? I mean, I would not oppose because I wouldn't have to shuffle a brick because I use our team sleeves, and then I don't want to buy more of the team sleeves, so I double sleeve them with the clear dragon shields, and it is a brick. It is so thick. It is so many cards to shuffle. So if I don't have to do that, I might be in.
I mean, that's up to you for playing Data Vault.
Yeah, that's true. I did for the celebration. So there was also the celebration at in Japan. Some friends of mine got me one of the coins. There's like a series of coins, and they actually got me one of them. And they gave me the Kylo Ren coin. I don't know if my camera will
Oh,
focus it.
wow.
So yeah,
That's,
It's kind of hard to see.
yeah,
yeah.
there it goes. So
Oh, there you go.
that's the front side.
Wow.
It's Kylo Ren, and then the back side is BB-8
BB-8.
with the Star Wars Celebration one.
Cool.
It's so it's kind of funny, I'm what Brian or Michael was like, you had why didn't you get the Ray one? And I was like, didn't think I'd ever play Ray, so I took Kylo Ren, and then here we are. I could have had a Ray coin with the Ray mat, with the Ray sleeves, with the Ray uh showcase, just Ray it up.
I mean, you're doing the Leia cosplay. You could just Ray
I'm
cosplay,
not.
You just go all in.
I'm not
You
doing
just gotta
either of
find
these.
someone to be your Finn. Just yell Ray the whole time.
I feel like
Yeah.
you or your brother would act like if I did the Ray cosplay and you did Finn, you would be perfectly fine with doing that. Just
That'd be
screaming
good.
Ray all the time.
I'd let you walk ahead in Vegas, and
Yeah.
I'd just be like, Ray!
Ray. Yeah, I could see you doing that, but that's gonna require some fiscal donations to go ahead and get me to
Some
not.
Taco Bell
Well, the current
investments.
one's my flight to cosplay as Vader, and Ray and Decreasy. Okay, okay.
There we go.
Calm down over there.
You'll fit right in at Vegas. There's a lot of like.
I believe
Yeah.
I would. I
I
believe.
wasn't
I
gonna bat
believe
an eye.
if there's a place to go ahead and like cosplay, that seems very like the place to do it.
Yeah.
You could
I
be
saw
anything.
too many Mickey Mouses there. So
Not gonna do that
That's
one.
right. Ryan scouted out Vegas for us
You
last
did.
weekend.
That's right. You did.
a
And
lot. Saw
yeah,
too many of them.
I mean, but my flight currently the flight's being paid for me to go ahead and cosplay as Ray, or not Ray, Darth Vader.
Sorry, that's on record now.
No, it's not. I'm not.
But let the court
Nope.
reflect.
It would have to be my flight and all my food to cosplay as Ray over Vader.
Don't do that. Food is expensive in Vegas, guys.
I mean, if you eat like an all-you-can-eat buffet or something like that, but I'm also gonna eat try and eat frugal, like cheap.
I mean, I went to Subway, and it was like $20-something for Subway. It's like
Isn't Subway having nachos? Did you try their nachos?
no, not trying nachos. It's
It was a wild weekend. We heard Subway nachos. Like, what is
Yeah,
going
we
on?
were on a call with Michael, and like DeCreasy showed something
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous. I don't know what it was, and he was just like, "I'm looking at what you're showing me right now on my other monitor. I'm looking at Subway advertising footlong nachos, and I can't handle this right now."
I was playing against Brandon, and we were like, because I was like, I wanted to know what the Kira matchup was like, and I was playing a game against him. And the game that I won, I had like 10 plus cards in hand, like 8 units on board, and then Brandon had like 2 cards in hand, and he was dead, nothing on the board. And Michael's like, "What
And you were
happened in this
playing
game?"
Ray, and he was playing Kira for
Yeah,
context.
exactly. It was like that way, and Michael's just like, I don't. My brain can't function with the fact that
I don't know
this
what
is
happened
happening on
here.
one side and then on the other Subway nachos, because he was watching. I think it was one of the basketball games, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's so funny.
Subway's too crazy now. Like it's different when Taco Bell is releasing chicken nuggets, but nachos at Subway, come on.
It is a wild world. We have Taco Bell nuggets and Subway nachos these days. It is a crazy world, and I'm playing Ray. That is the cake. That is
Dude, you
top
could make like those little like packets that she eats in the movie. You know, that could be your
Okay.
snack, like in between rounds.
You're trying to say because I'm fat? I
No,
gotta eat between rounds because I'm fat.
I'll
no,
say
I eat
that.
between
Yeah, I
rounds.
bet you would. So,
I say double down on the cosplay, obviously.
like I said, it's got to be. There's got to be the flight plus something. It can't just be the flight. There's got to be. I might concede the hotel cost instead of the flight because the hotel's obviously more, and that's like the happy medium. But to do
That's fair.
over the Vader cosplay, that might be the play.
So, well, hold on. We're negotiating so it goes Vader cosplay, and then Ray's a step up above that, and then Slave Leia's a step above that. Is that the stratification that we're going with?
Slave
Just to
Leia is
clarify.
so far ahead of that, it's not possible.
Sounds like
I
she's
don't.
just like one step above. I mean,
It's
once you're
not one
doing
step.
Ray, you already got to do like the hair and
They are
everything,
not the
right?
same. They are not the
They're
same.
both. Are they both?
Someone's ready to
Have you
cash
seen
that
the
for free
Slave Leia
Taco Bell.
costume? Have you seen the Slave Leia costumes?
Aren't they both? Isn't Carrie Fisher and the actor who plays Ray? They're both brunettes. They're like halfway there, I think, right?
You're telling I'm not dyeing my hair. That's not happening.
No, you should wear a
You
wig.
gotta commit
Yeah.
to the bit.
I mean, for the Leia, I would have the little buns because my mom, even though in the Slave Leia she didn't have the buns, she had like long straight hair.
She had like the
Right?
ponytail, right?
Yeah, she had a
Like a long
ponytail, so I'd have
ponytail.
to like get some like horse hair and like attach that clip on, all that stuff, grow out my hair.
Yeah,
That's
the
a whole thing.
cosplay is gonna suck in July because it's gonna be 120
Well, the Vader
degrees.
one,
Slave
I'm
Leia.
actually gonna die.
Slave Leia in July.
I would
Think about it.
actually
Like,
get arrested.
You got ventilation.
I'm not a
you would
small
need
person.
to stay in the Venetian if you are gonna cosplay.
Yeah, AC.
I am not a small person. I mean, there's just no way I could fit in that. I'm not a small person. That is like rated R.
Rated R.
Like that's
You get
so...
the banana hammock ready and
Yeah.
get going.
God no, that is the worst possible thing we think about is this just 300-pound man with like loincloth and like some like a bra. Like that's a
Dude, we
bra
could
and
find you
then
like
like knitted
a
like
little
little
Salacious
horsehair.
Crumb plushie like
Ooh.
on your shoulder, you know?
We could get
Dude,
someone to be Jabba and like just drag you on
Yeah.
a leash in front.
I would sooner dress up as Jabba the Hutt than fucking Slave Leia. All right. And the only way that this would even be a consideration is, again, hotel and flight get paid for. That's the only way that I'm like considering this. That's it.
So it's on the table. That's what I'm taking.
You know what
away
this
from
this is what we'll do. So flight.
Lincoln might not look at you the same if you do.
So if we buy Galactics, I'll do this. I'll put this out there. All right, because this will benefit all of us. If by Galactics we have over 5,000 subscribers, legitimate subscribers, over 5,000.
I can't just make 4,000 accounts right now. It's not.
No.
Those are legit. He made those.
No. You know what? For that 20,000. 20,000 subscribers. If we hit 20,000.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do
exactly.
that.
Now I know you won't do it.
20,000.
Yeah, see, there you go. 20,000.
No, I'm not going to do it. All
20,000
right, 5,000.
No.
20,000. That doesn't even exist. That's like 4 woos.
Yeah.
All right, who's like the most reasonable content creator that I don't know what the subscriber counts are. We'll table this.
5K?
We will table this to next week. We'll do a little research. This is on the table for potential subscriber numbers or flight hotel.
I like the
Both are
subscriber
considerations.
idea.
5K. That's like puts us in
That's like
in
Thor
territory. Yeah.
All right, 5K.
5K. Okay.
We hit
It's on
5,000
it.
subscribers.
There you go.
5K subscribers, and I'll cosplay as Slave
Okay.
Leia with
All
Cole,
right.
and
You're
my
heard
flight
it
still
here.
gets paid. My flight still gets paid by Brandon.
I'm gonna find such a nice little Salacious B. Crumb plushie on
I mean,
Etsy or
5K
something.
is a lot. We haven't even hit 500, so 5K is a lot.
I'm sure Sonny knows a guy for some nice crumb. Like
I bet he does.
He's got a Chewbacca pet. So, all right, that's on there. 5,000. Everybody that's watching, 5,000 subscribers to our channel. Legitimate subscribers, not just like random accounts created.
All right.
It's there. 5,000.
We've got
and
2 months.
Slave Leia. I will cosplay, and I will do it for. I'll do it if I'm in Saturday. If I'm in the Saturday event, I'll do it Saturday. I'll do it all day Saturday.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it the whole event. I'll do it Saturday though. I'll do it one of the days. I'll do it one of the days. One of them. Friday.
I feel like
Saturday,
that'd be
Sunday.
a big advantage if you just you sit down and your opponent sits down and slams Slave Leia. You'd be like,
oh yeah,
like
a mental warfare.
It's very distracted for the first few rounds.
Mental warfare.
Shuffling up, and you just see Slave
You
Leia.
hear the chains. Ding, 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 ding.
I'm not doing the chains. That's not happening.
You got to change your melee name too.
Oh god.
Slave Leia. Oh jeez. All right.
Leia Jacuzzi.
Puts the crumbs plushie down on the table.
This is initiative, by the way.
Yeah, this is our initiative too. This is my little pet. Lord. All right, and then I get to play whatever deck I want. Also, by the way, that is I like how you're just like, yeah, that's fine. Or should we get to see this? All right,
we can work around that.
That's 5K. All right, we derailed a lot. We get back on topic.
Next subject.
Yeah, back on topic. All right, so I'm not a fan of this deck. I know a lot. It's not that I'm not a fan of the deck, because I actually like playing against the deck a lot. But I know a lot of people hate playing against it, and that's Bosk Blue. I personally do not care. I am all for this deck. I think it's great to play against because you're not dying in like one turn. But I know a lot of people hate playing against that deck. What are your guys' opinions on Bosk Blue as a whole into this current meta that we're going into? Like, let's just the projected next 2 weeks.
You go, Brian.
I mean, I'm not too worried about it just because of the style of deck. I know a lot of people talk about not enjoying that, so I think it'll be a low percentage point no matter what tournament it is. And the fact that it hasn't really come out in the past week or so, or we haven't seen it on the radar with the Raid Data Vault and the Kira Data Vault increasing, I think has something to say for it. I think it's like you said, I don't mind playing against it. It's really just about pacing your units and threats and just trying to play around certain types of removal and making them have certain things at specific times in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I guess it's positioned okay. I just feel like there's a lot of there are a lot more cards now to sideboard for this deck, like compared to set 2 and then set 3 and now set 4. Even like I think about like the Han Data Vault decks. Like they're bringing in like Profundity, and like Profundity is like a 5-for-1 against Bosk, and they can play it on 7 resources. Is it an 8-drop or 9-drop? Good.
Profundity's 9.
But anyway, it's 9. Okay, so they can play it on 8. So like they could play it relatively like early for that matchup. So I think there's just a lot of like cards people can bring in to compete with this deck. Whereas I feel like maybe in set 2 and 3, it could just sort of like run away with certain matchups. Like you didn't have answers, kind of a thing. But then on the other hand, it's like if everyone's playing Data Vault, like maybe it's a little slower. But I think some of these hero decks are really good into boss because they're playing like all these like 1-drops and things like that. And like you mentioned, like Mon Mothma and C3PO, these
Love me
cards
some.
that like cycle and what was that?
I love me some Mom Mothma.
Yeah, but like she's great if you like you don't want to power the dark side her, right? So like you've got all these little teeny units and like they can just get a ton of chip damage in. And then like they've got choose a lot of these decks I see have choose sides, right? So like they can stick like an Avenger or whatever, but you just take it and then reload with tech and stuff like that. So I think there are a lot of tools in these Data Vault decks to fight Bosk. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. I guess maybe it could pop up like Palp in like a slower meta. But yeah, it's hard to say. I don't think it has a great matchup against Kira though. If you like know the sideboard kind of strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine Ray is, I mean, like you just mentioned, it has all those idiots and like power basically becomes non-existent for your deck, and
Yeah.
it has the choose sides too. So it's like, all right, I'll give you the 1/3 and give me your Avenger. It's like, all right, great. Just
Yeah, and then you
you
kind of have to
like
blast that, and then you're like, all right, I'll U-wing and play 4 things, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know how Bosk like attempts to win that matchup. Like they just play so many small units that they put like 3 units down, and you're like, all right, I guess I'll go ahead and Palpatine, and they're like, all right, well, I mean, you only play like 6 units, so these Fell the Dragons that I've been holding this whole game are pretty good right about now.
yeah.
And
I guess
then
the other way to think about it too is like in addition to everyone else getting more tech cards, I feel like Bosk has gotten like nothing because they don't play units, so like they don't get to benefit from like these like powerful space units in set 4 or whatever, right? Like it's just kind of like the bar for removal in this game I feel like has been kind of static, but like the units have
Mhm.
been getting better. So like I don't even know what new cards they would run really.
No Glory is like
Um
the best one.
no glory, yeah. But like I don't even know how I guess no glory is good against like Chewy for them and maybe like a K2 here or there, but like
I mean,
they were already running Vanquish.
if
So
you board into like Profundities and Senatorial Corvettes, like that's like the best case
sure.
scenario for those cards if you're playing
Yeah.
against Hero Red. But I mean, sometimes it doesn't line up that way, right? Like your hand
Yeah.
is like you need to kill a threat, and your hand is
You have to
power.
burn it, yeah.
Yeah, you're like power no glory. And it's like, well, I gotta use this, or power takedown no glory, and there's a Luke on the board. It's like, well, I can't like sit here and wait for them to
Right.
play their Profundity in their red blue Han deck. Like I have to kill this now, and then they're like Profundity, and you're like, well, I can't deal with that card. It's just gonna kill me. Um,
Yeah, that'd be my biggest concern about piloting a boss deck. It's like I just feel like you're sort of losing ground, like you're not getting stuff every set because they've intentionally said like we don't want to make the events better, like we want to make the units better.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's the right way to approach it too. It's like if you are going to make it like I think the devs said it a while back, they want to make it like a mid-range kind of play style in the game. Like that's how you encourage it by playing units and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah. I agree. I like that. I like having the ability to fight for the board with units and then supplement, which is why I really like what Kira does. Like Kira 33 is you have really powerful units, you fight for the board, and then you have supplemental removal spells and Fell the Dragons, takedowns, Rivals Falls, Vigilance, etc. And if you fall behind, you can sometimes rate the Super Laser Blast, right? So I do like that strategy a lot. Um,
yeah. But I think
yeah,
it's pretty obvious, like they're not gonna like go like the magic route and make like turbo efficient like
uh,
removal. It
I
seems like
with how some of their balancing is, it would not surprise me if they did. I
maybe
mean, like we, we
eventually.
we talk about like efficient removal. Like Overwhelming Barrage is one of the most efficient removals, but that's like a glue piece, right? It's not like a hard removal spell. It's like you have to play into that, or you have to like play a unit plus it, and that's why it's so powerful with leaders because of the flip 5, etc. But
Yep.
I mean, I could see a world where we get like a lightning bolt. Like I would love to have a lightning bolt in this game, or a
Keep making 2/4s and stuff, yeah, for
yeah.
turn ones.
I think with everything going in the path of 2/4s for one, and we're
It's possible, yeah.
like lightning bolts still good against like the Battlefield Marines of the world and the Sabines, but like these 2/4 units that we're starting to now get, lightning bolt seems like a really powerful card to just have in general. So, or a real like good card.
Yeah, I
And
think we're like very far away from that though.
Yeah,
I think about the one aggression event that's like it was this last set, I think. It was like deal 3 damage to a unit you control in an arena, and then 3 damage to another unit in the same arena.
yeah, I still think that card's really good. You need a shell that plays off of graveyard effects. And I think I'm really hoping we get some graveyard synergies in the next set because I want
Seems like
a
we will.
graveyard based deck. I really want a graveyard based deck.
I could see the Night Sisters or something because I mean we know undead isn't great.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I could
When
see
there's that
something.
trooper that gets buff for stuff in the discard, right? Other troopers or something.
Yeah.
I would love for a graveyard based strategy. I really enjoy that. I enjoy ramp strategies and great ramp, graveyard, and control strategies. So really, hopefully that we get something like that. But yeah, that's like a deck. I think a lot of people also just because they don't like playing against boss, they try to end the game quickly. In which case they overextend, and then the game they lose
Yeah.
control of the game, and then it draws out because they only play like 6 threats, so they take forever to kill you, and you feel helpless in this entire for the next hour because they're like kill your guy, kill your guy, kill your guy. I finally drew a threat, and they're like, well, great, now I'm dead. It only took us like 30 minutes to get to you getting a threat. So I think a lot of people try to speed up the game, and you just can't. Like that game just has to go long. It's just going to go long. So if you come into that
Yeah.
mindset, I think you probably see your win rate on that deck go higher, but we'll see. But yeah, I think that's all I really got for what the meta is going to be coming up, and when we're going from here to the PQ season and going into Minneapolis. But that may change in the next week. We still have 2 weeks away. We're 2 weeks away from Minneapolis. We have this coming weekend we got a PQ near us that we're all going to.
The only Virginia PQ set.
Yeah, exactly. And we do have for anybody who's going to the Richmond PQ. If you play any of the secret team members, there's a bounty on all of our heads. If you win the game or the match, if you win the match against us, we're going to be giving out booster packs. So that's a little bit of a giveaway we're going to be giving away. There is a caveat to this. You need to be subscribed, and you have to show it to us when you sit down. We're going to ask you, say, hey, are you subscribed to our channel? And if you say no, then you can't claim the bounty if you beat us. So you have to be subscribed before you go ahead and play us. So if you're here, tell your friends, say, hey, free booster packs on the line. I believe we have all the sets. I have to double check what Sonny's got. Well, I know we've got a bunch of JTL. We've got some number of all the sets. Really, we've been hoarding them. It almost feels like.
Yeah.
Where are they? Let's see here. We've got Twilight Shadow, Spark of Rebellion. So I imagine we're probably going to take just a plethora, some number of all of them, and then possibly get them a choice or just hand them one. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But there's going to be a booster pack, and could get a showcase. But you got to be subscribed. So tell your friends, tell everybody, subscribe. The second reason you want to subscribe is if you want to see a 300-pound man in a Leia costume. I will honor that. Not excited about it, but if we get 5,000 subscribers, I will be a man of my word and I will do it. Not 4,999, 5,000. So 5,000, make it happen. This is one of the weird times that I really hope it doesn't happen. I really don't want it to happen.
You kind of want it to happen, though.
I don't. I really don't. If we even get like remotely on the trend uptick, I gotta start hitting the gym hard because that is a lot of weight I gotta lose.
You gotta start shopping for some banana hammocks. That's what you gotta do.
Some jock straps. Might get some like those inflatable tubes to go around my butt and everything. Something.
There we go. Brandon's working on the marketing campaign for us.
There we go.
Oh God. The marketing campaign to do
Send
this.
it to all your coworkers. Get everyone just to click subscribe.
Yeah.
What have I done? I didn't think about this before agreeing to it, but Andrew and Brandon both know Ophir, and he could
It's
also
recorded.
make a it's recorded, and he could make a plug. This is not good. This is not a good situation for
and
me.
you clearly didn't watch Woo's video, so he definitely doesn't like you.
Sorry, man. I did give it a view. It did get the view by the algorithm. I gave it 5 minutes. I just haven't finished the video. Like
2 seconds of view time.
yeah, it's just like
and
he's I don't know if he's in the chat anymore or listening, but you know.
you took
Ugh.
packs from Tata. Oh my goodness, you
I
are setting
didn't take
yourself
them.
up.
I asked and he threw me a box. He's like, "Here's your
That
piggy
was
prize."
that was a down payment.
Yeah, a down payment for my downfall is what it was. So, something else that we're looking at possibly doing is we're working on some gameplay commentary, talking about working on getting some footage for these top eights from Late Night Gaming and McClunky Gaming, so we can go ahead and it'll be just analysis going over the top eight and not just like a play by play, but really just talking about thoughts about our side, what we would be looking for to do in this matchup. I think that would be helpful going into the PQ season for the next, I guess it goes all the way until the end of June right now, and we're just at the beginning of it. Um, so look forward to that. We're working on getting those videos created. I know we also are wanting to do some playtesting videos with us playing games. Um, I've got some ideas about that. I know a lot of us have been also working on that. So it's really going to be a fun time. We're trying to get some content going. So before I go ahead and close it out, I want to go ahead and open it up to you guys. Is there anything you want to say before we go ahead out, before we close it out? Either of you.
Go ahead, Andrew.
I don't think so. Oh, I guess yeah, hope everyone is playing in a PQ this weekend. I'm sure we'll see a lot of people at the Virginia one, especially from Northern Virginia. There's a lot of people going, so that's very exciting. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing like how the meta shapes up for the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just excited to get back into the tournament. Feel like I didn't do as well as I wanted to in Richmond, so trying to come back with a little bit of spice of my own and trying to get back out there and prove I can still win PQs.
Get those creative juices flowing. I feel that.
Heck yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching. This has been episode 5 of the Secret Cantina podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, send it to your friends, get those subscribers, make a fat
Support Slave
man
Leia
cry
cosplay.
in the Leia costume, Leia cosplay in Vegas. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.